The mythology story of how Rome was founded tells Romulus and his twin brother Remus, who were grandsons of an Alban king, were abandoned as infants, but saved and suckled by a she-wolf before being raised by a shepherd, eventually overthrowing a tyrant, and then founding Rome together, though Romulus killed Remus during a dispute over the city's location, naming it after himself and becoming its first king of Rome. Lacking women for its new city, Romans invited neighboring Sabines into the city, then kidnapped their daughters as their wives. Later during Romulus's reign, he suddenly vanished in a storm and ascended to heaven. Recently, I asked about the story. God Michael commented that the founding story of Rome was made up by Satan to hide Aeneas' existence and the Greek origin of Rome, Italy. More importantly, to hide the Trojan War and the sack of ancient Greek cities. There was no Romulus and his twin brother Remus, or how the earliest Romans raped or kidnapped Sabine women as their wives, or the sudden disappearance of Romulus. All these existing myth stories about the founding of Rome were not true. Note, the style of these stories also shows the typical storytelling, deceptive style of Satan. Aeneas commented that with God Michael's help, he founded the city that we call Rome today. However, it wasn't named Rome when he founded it. The name of the city was Pallantium, referring to Pallas, which was the god's name referred to God Michael. Note, the oldest and the centermost hill amongst the 7 hills of Rome is still named Palatine Hill today. The word Pallantius, or Pallantis, derived from Pallas, has the meaning of aurora or dawn or sunlight. That is why they used Pallas to name God Michael/Helios. Also, how later Roman emperors presented themselves with a laurel on their head and a short wood stick or with chariot is to let others think they represent their main god, Pallas Helio Apollo Dionysius. I asked, and Aeneas also confirmed that the Pallantium and the wooden image of goddess Nike were the sacred tokens he brought with him. The Temple of Vesta in the Roman Forum was built in the same way as in Troy to keep the sacred fire. The Pallantium was a standing Pallas god Michael's statue holding up a torch with flame. Jan 17, 2026. Notes 1. Archaeology evidence shows that the city wall and some other pottery remains existed from 1200 BC, long before the so-called founding of Rome by Romulus around 753 BC. 2. According to Wiki, an actual object regarded as the Pallantium was undoubtedly kept in the Temple of Vesta in the Roman Forum for several centuries. It was regarded as one of the Pignora Imperii, sacred tokens. The sacred tokens most commonly regarded as such were the Pallantium, the wooden image of Minerva, Trojan, Nike goddess, that the Romans claimed had been rescued from the fall of Troy and was in the keeping of the Vestals, the sacred fire of Vesta tended by the Vestals, which was never allowed to go out. Source from Wiki 3. Satan later often used a made-up Pallas Athenian goddess or changed the Pallas statue to a female appearance to deceive people. Below are pictures of the Pantheon of Rome, in which the dome is to use the sun's sunlight to signify God Michael.